Yeah, I call it, in fact, we have a group of women that I meet with that once a month, and we have this group, we call it Rewire, not Retire. And all of us had big careers, and then now are what's next kind of thing. We've really helped each other a lot in trying to decide, because if you have if you have the luxury, in some cases, not always, but if you do, to make decisions on what you really would like to do with the rest of your life, you have a lot of time, hopefully, if you're healthy, or even not so healthy, you have a lot of time, many years left, to do something that really you want to do, that you're really passionate about. So I had started kind of pulling myself slightly away from the business before we sold it, even though I wasn't sure I wanted to sell it. But I had started doing it by writing the book, already doing my art shows, doing more outside speaking. And so I was already starting to recast myself a bit before we sold the business. So even though it was still kind of an abrupt stop to not be involved in that anymore, I had already had some things going on that I was interested in, and that was, fulfilling to me. So I just think it's kind of exciting. It can be daunting too. I mean, it's like, oh, well, am I not effective as I used to be? Or, am I doing enough? Or, what have I contributed lately? And so, or I'm not making that same paycheck anymore. So what am I worth? There's a lot of those doubtful feelings that can go through your mind, but it's also very liberating to me to say, okay, well, good. I can go do something that I think is important, or that I want to do. And it's a nice thing, and to try things. Well, if that doesn't work, that's okay. I'll do something else. And that's kind of the way I've lived anyway. I'm kind of a little much of a risk taker, and I don't mind taking risk here and there. And if you fail, and you move on, because you learned what you couldn't do. Or maybe that wasn't going to work for you, and you do something better because you learn from your mistake or whatever. But it is scary in a way. And I'll say that. And I've talked to a lot of people who are trying to figure it out. And one of the things that set with me was that one of my dear friends, who was the top managing partner in one of the largest law firms in the world, retired right a couple of years before me, and she wanted to get on boards, and she met those goals and has gotten on some very important boards, and that was something she really wanted to do. But she also is in this council with me, and she did a whole discussion one day on what are your superpowers, and you probably had them as a child. And so I started laughing at myself, because I was on a stage as a little girl, doing plays for the time I was in the first grade, and loved it. I didn't mind being out in front of people and speaking in public from an audience. So, see, I was already doing that as a child. I was dabbling with paintings and stuff. My mom let me paint in her kindergarten classroom. She was a kindergarten teacher, and she turned me loose in there after the kids left every day with a paintbrush and a little easel, and I painted and did all. That's not so unusual that I do that today. And I liked taking on roles growing up, the class president, running the yearbook, running the drill team, all these different things. I would stand up and take leadership positions. And so that wasn't unusual that I would always want to do that. So I just say, if you're kind of stumped someday, just think, what was I really good at as a child? And I probably am still doing that today, and could pivot farther into that.